Hello, 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 and welcome back to JenHannagans.
She's Jen. I'm Hannah. We are two besties for the resty, and this is a talkie video and a different one. It's not an announcement video like we did the not a video.
Oh, man.
Okay. Real quick recap. We started WW April 1st, 2019. It was very successful for us.
Yes.
We lost a lot of weight combined.
Like 100.
I was 500 pounds.
We've lost over 200 together.
I was over 500 pounds at my highest. I'm like 350, 360-ish right now. Maintained for the last 2 years. We both have. She lost enough to get skin removal surgery. Some videos on this channel about that. If you have any questions, let her know. We were WW, then we switched to iTrackBites because it was cheaper. It's the same thing as WW. Then we went back to WW because they changed plans. We wanted to see what the difference is. Then we went back to iTrackBites, but iTrackBites changed its name to Healthy, so now it's Healthy, and that's what we've been on and what we've been tracking on.
And you're all caught up.
We started, let's not lie, we wanted to lose weight, but we needed to do so for health because I knew I would die. And you have a history of diabetes and weight related issues. So
that was 4 years ago we started. And as you start on a journey like this, things change, layers start to fall into place. You start to learn more about yourself and what works for you and what doesn't work for you, which is where we're leading.
Yeah. So for a while, we've talked about how sugar was an issue for us. And for a while, we have talked amongst ourselves about needing to go more towards whole foods, get rid of processed foods. And we knew we needed to, but we weren't sure what that looked like. And then Jen, who is always a researcher, somehow stumbled across Food Junkies
podcast,
which we've talked about,
which is based on a book by Vera Tarman,
and you're going to hear a lot about it on this channel.
It has been life-changing,
sincerely life-changing. So Food Junkies podcast is about food addiction. Specifically, a lot of it is about sugar addiction, and they talk about food addiction with abstinence as a cure. And that was mind-blowing because I always said I was addicted to food, but how do you abstain from food?
Yeah.
So.
Well, for me, when I started listening to the podcast, just hearing the validation from professionals that food addiction is a real thing. A lot of it is stemmed from sugar, but it can be volume addiction. It could be the process of eating and binging and all of that. And so, like, the whole thing was just like crazy to me that there was somebody who could explain all the things that I've gone through and all the things that I have, felt. It was intense. And so
it was doctors and medical professionals saying you're not broken if you can't just eat less and lose weight. There's more to it than that. And I have never had a medical professional in my life that didn't just tell me to eat less and all my problems would be solved. So in this process, I bawled the first 6 episodes.
She had a rough week.
It was a very rough week because sugar feels like such a big thing to give up. And calling yourself an addict, admitting that you're an addict is a very heavy thing.
Yes.
But I am a food addict. I am addicted to sugar, and I'm finding I am also addicted to flour and some other things. But it all lined up with what we were already feeling called towards.
For a really long time.
And this is the thing. This is really what made me start bawling one day. Is we're not shy on this channel. She's a pastor's wife. Our faith is a huge part of who we are. Everything we do, we bring God into it. When you start on WW and most weight loss things, they ask you for your why. And when we started 4 years ago, I still have my why. My why was I wanted to be more who God called me to be. and to be able to do more of what he called me to do, specifically with children and youth. And I wanted to be able to keep up with her kids as they grew up, because they weren't going to be babies anymore that I could just sit around and hold. So God was what I want to do and who I want to be for God was a huge part of my why. But I didn't give him my food. And I held on to food, and I held on to sugar, and I can make it work within my points.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what got me, because almost every, I can't say that, I don't know, at least 75% of the podcast, whenever a professional is on talking about how you get treatment and free from addiction, they all talk about spirituality.
Yeah.
And that hit me like, why didn't I bring God into this?
Right.
Why was I holding this back? So, you want to talk for a minute now?
Well, one of the things that I learned on the podcast, which I already kind of knew in myself, but one thing that was like validated for me was they said moderation isn't for everyone. And we are told so much to just moderate what we eat, just be, balance and all of this. And I think when it comes down to actual food addiction, there's just certain things that you just can't partake in. And that's why we have leaned toward giving up sugar, because that is a trigger for us. So like for me, it's not necessarily the sugar. Like I will eat a small amount of sugar and two things will happen. Either I will want to eat a lot more sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just want to keep eating that thing and like throw my points out for the day, just whatever, I don't care. Or it's going to trigger me to eat other foods. So like it's going to trigger me to just want to like volume eat. And so in all of these things, you guys know, like we've put our what I eat in a days. And so you see like when we've had good days, when we've had bad days, whatever. And so we've come a long way. Like we've cut out a lot of things. But for me, I was an addict before food addiction. And when I got out of the other addictions, food addiction came right up, and that's what it was. And so, and for me, it's more of the process and a volume addiction, probably more than actually is maybe the sugar part of it. But I do know that it's triggered by sugar.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're at. And I really highly suggest that podcast, go there. And so we have also both been of the persuasion that you're not living your life if you're not eating the birthday cake. You guys have heard me say it. We've said it on this channel before. We've said, I'm not going to give up the birthday cake. I'm going to live my life. And that's great until you realize that there's a deeper problem. And that's where we're at.
So I am a food addict, 100%, have been basically since birth. This is a story anyone I've talked to about this since we started listening to the podcast, literally one of the first pictures of me is me as a baby on my grandpa's knee, and I got cookies in both hands, and there's debate whether it's frosting or chocolate frosting or cookie dust all over my face.
Either way.
I've been food has always been there. Food has always been comfort. Food has always been joy. Food has always been love.
Go ahead.
All
Continue.
the things.
It's been through worse.
So, I'm a food addict, and I need to address that. And I got to thinking about the cake. It's funny you brought that up. I got to thinking about the birthday cake, and the conversation has come up with a couple people. Are you never going to do this again? Are you never going to enjoy this again? Insert whatever here. And I realized, if I'm honest, my answer would be no, because I've never enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It wasn't something I enjoyed, and it was always something that is whatever trigger it is. We'll use cake. I could just as easily use bread and butter or mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes I enjoy though, to some extent, but for so long, I'm 38 years old, for at least the past 15, 16 years, those things have been shameful to me.
Yeah.
And I eat it and I enjoy the taste of it.
Yeah.
But I know what it's going to lead to as far as overeating it and what else I'm going to eat afterwards. So it's not something I've ever enjoyed. So no, I'm not going to enjoy it again, because I don't enjoy it now.
Yeah.
And as far as going out to eat with a group of people, I'm still going to be able to go out and eat with my friends. It doesn't really matter to anyone else if there's sugar or carbs on my plate. If I'm not making a big deal of it, most people aren't going to notice. And if they notice, I'll tell them I'm just not eating it and go on.
Yeah.
They're not paying attention to what I'm eating. So, whatever. So the reason this is an announcement, but not an announcement, we are moving towards being sugar-free, and really we're moving towards being trigger-free, because there are different foods that trigger us. Like she said, she's more of a process addiction and more of
so it's
volume.
just the eating in general. So if there's certain foods that are going to trigger that and trigger me to feel out of control, that's what we're defining as a trigger food. A trigger food is something that makes you feel like you are losing control of your eating and triggers you to eat some other thing that may not be good for you, or a large volume of food, or whatever that works into. This is where Hannah's addiction as far as food, when she says that she's food addicted, it does line up with addiction, because you enjoy the moment that you're in of, that this is like doing something to your brain. You're feeling good for that moment, but deep down you're going to feel awful physically. Yeah. You're going to mentally feel like you're out of control. And all of that lines up with drug and alcohol addiction. It's the same exact thing. You enjoy that high, but that you're like throwing your life away in the end. It all lines up, especially from somebody who has addiction past. Like, it lines up. It's a real thing.
The feelings and the emotions are the same. And they say it in the podcast, which is so funny, because I distinctly remember conversations in college where I would jokingly say, food is my alcohol. Well, we started listening to this podcast, and there are professionals saying food is an alcohol.
Yeah.
Sugar is processed the same as alcohol in the liver and all these things. I'm like,
and many would classify sugar as being as addictive as alcohol.
So, but I have to get rid of some different things in my life than Jen does. And we're still discovering. We're still discovering what that is. Like, the beginning of this month, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a soft start, because I was terrified to go sugar-free. And honestly, I was not going to do this video because when we did WW, we didn't tell anybody for months.
We started out quiet.
We were very quiet about it, and we didn't start the channel until we'd been on WW for a year. So I wasn't going to tell anyone, but it's been such a change in my mind. There is no way I can go back.
We know too much.
Yeah. So
we can't unsee it.
Did a soft start of getting rid of sugar, and I'm still determining sugar-free options. Like, I'll do sugar-free sweeteners in a coffee, or like the Lotus drink I'm drinking right now, but I have to limit that. I know
and it's going to be personal for us regarding added sugars. Like, we've cut down a ton on added sugars. We've been doing this for a little while now. We're just now putting this out here, and we got plans, but we're I've tried to go down on added sugar as well as any kind of sweets and all of that. And I mean, the difference is absolutely insane, because I just I know that we think of it as restricting. So we're like, well, why would you want to not eat a certain food for the rest of your life? Well, there is freedom.
There's so much.
I can't express to you how much freedom comes with knowing that is something I'm just not going to do. So I'm not putting myself in the way of getting something over me, taking control over me. And so I don't know how to explain it. We're just telling you what we're feeling, what we're thinking.
I will explain it like this. For me, I have thought so much less about what decisions I need to make around food. I haven't been tracking
100%,
because I haven't been going for things that I'm gonna overeat, and it's because I haven't really had sugar in 2 weeks. But as I'm doing it, I realize, at first I was just gonna do no sweets, no candies, no cakes and stuff like that, and then I had some bread and butter and realized, yeah, that's got to go too, because I can't stop myself.
Right.
And I will literally be making a slice of toast with butter and think, I should not eat this. I've already had 3 slices and I cannot physically stop myself. That's addiction. And that is not freedom.
Right.
That does not mean being free to make a choice on what I'm eating. That is what I'm eating having complete control over me, and I refuse to allow that anymore. So, just knowing I'm not touching sugar has taken the stress away of how much am I going to eat of it? Is it going to cause me to... I'm getting rid of the stuff that's going to cause me to go down that path. It's not about weight loss. It's about, I got to fix my mind. And since doing this, thinking is clearer. Like, physically I feel better. I'm still very tired because I'm still coming down from sugar, to be honest.
Yeah. It'll take a little bit.
I might have to come off of caffeine at some point. Luckily, I'm not super addicted to caffeine anymore. But it's growing. So we're not gonna be super preachy. We don't want to be those people because we know people that are extremely preachy and kind of mean and about whatever diet they choose to be on, and that's not how we want to be. But you are going to notice some changes. We will do videos about sugar addiction and food addiction, and if you don't want to watch them, then don't. But we hope you do. We hope you share it. There might be something, like, you may not be a food addict, but there's probably something in it that will resonate with you. The big change you'll see is if I do film what I eat in a day, I won't be giving points necessarily on everything. But if you're here for healthy meals and low point options,
yes,
guess what? If you get rid of carbs and sugar, you're gonna have low point meals and healthy options.
And right now, with you doing that, you're focusing on recovering. You're focusing on getting out of it, coming out of it. And so, maybe that's why the points is not important right now. What's the focus is every day I'm off sugar. Like, there's another day, another meal.
The focus right now has been not having what triggers me and paying attention to how what I'm eating is affecting me. There are other things that I can eat low point, but they cause me to seek out other foods, and that's a problem. So that's what I'm paying attention to right now. There's something else I was going to say about that.
What do you think on that? But I will say this, that the Lord called Hannah and I together many years ago. For a lot of different reasons, for ministry, for the fact that my children needed a wonderful aunt and I needed a great friend, but also he called us, when I started thinking about no sugar, I knew Hannah's stance on that. And I knew that she may not, so when she started listening to the podcast, it was very difficult for her because she realized that she had an addiction.
Angry.
Yes, she was crying for days. Stop. So I was nervous about even saying, hey, here's this podcast because I knew this would happen right here. And so, but the Lord brought us to the same place 4 years ago when we started WW. We've lost the weight. We've been able to keep the weight off, which is amazing. Go us, Hannah. Thank you, Lord, because the Lord was seriously, that's who's he wants to work in our lives. And so he is also using our journey to inspire other people. I believe that. We've been told that. We have a lot of people that are commenting and watching and asking questions, and that's amazing. I'm like, Lord, use it, take it, do what you want to with it. And so to bring us to this place at the same time in different ways, just like with our WW journey, we started out at different weights, we did things differently. We'll do things differently now, but we both have handled an addiction, and even through WW, even through our success, we've dealt with that, and we've dealt with those things coming back and some of those disordered eating trying to come back up. And so this is just the next step. That's why I said this was all done in layers, because if we hadn't done these last 4 years of WW, there's no way that we could do this right now. So what I'm telling you guys is, if you have any interest in anything like this or any kind of diet or lifestyle change, start with one small thing.
Yeah.
And build on that, and just let that grow, let that become your habit, let that become part of who you are, and it will just layer on top.
Let God guide you.
Don't try to make huge, gigantic changes at one time.
These tears, just to be very clear, these tears are not because I can't ever have sugar again. These tears, I told you I'd cry, are because I'm so sad that I let the fear of, am I never going to have another chocolate chip cookie, stopped me from doing what I knew I should have a long time ago. I wasted so much time.
But you know what?
So much time.
So many people on the podcast did too. Like we listened to all these episodes and they're like way old when they start this.
Oh man, the number of
Like,
people
it's
that
just
started when they were
wisdom.
38. I'm like,
Wisdom.
woohoo!
No,
it's. I'm sad because of the time I wasted when I knew years ago I
Yeah.
really needed to get off sugar, but I didn't have the words. Thank God for the podcast. I will tell you, if you watch the podcast, some of them do have language in there, but
you take what you will from it.
yeah,
But see, this has been building because we started with WW.
Yeah.
We started with 17-day diet way back in the day, and that kind of
Yeah.
helped us with some things to kind of change
Yeah.
our eating patterns a little bit. And then we got on WW, and then we found the Wellness Revelation and Revelation Wellness
Yeah.
on all of that, and that has been helpful with just like bringing in that spiritual aspect, and then realizing that hey, this is going even deeper.
yeah.
And so it's just all layers. Like
And don't be seriously.
it's raining. If you guys are wondering what the
Yeah.
background noise is.
Don't.
Good thing we didn't walk to church.
I told you. Don't be afraid when you start feeling like, you know what, I really do need to make this change. Because God will give you the strength. But also, if God starts dealing with you and telling you to make a change, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we would have been so much further if we had just
Yeah.
done it.
There are different methods for starting this. I've seen that some people say, you know, they focus on one day at a time. And then, I don't know if you read that today, but somebody posted that, like, the one day at a time thing didn't work for them because they had to say, like, this is done for good instead of, like, in a week from now I can have, you know, whatever. So for me, I'm the kind of person that if I say I'm going to not do this thing, I'm not going to do that. Like, it's
That's
just
the video.
yeah, it's just like this is what it is. So I'm not a one day at a time kind of person. What do
Yeah.
you think about yourself?
I think that I have to work up to it. That's why the soft start was important for
Yes.
me. Because in doing the soft start, I'm like, okay, we're going to see how much I need to remove. Do I really need to take everything out? Do I need to take more out? I don't have to say goodbye to it forever because I'm not going officially sugar-free until April 1st or what.
Even though I don't really see
we
you
like
eating
April
sugar
1st.
then. Like you're not.
I haven't. I've had
You've
one bite
started.
of sugar, so I've
We
started.
just like
but,
using April 1st because April 1st is our WW anniversary. And April 1st will be 4 years since you have WW.
But for me, not saying that this is the end forever, that this is okay. I'm starting this to see where it goes. That was easier for me.
Yes. And that was the same way with me too. I had to be like, what does this look like? We're actually going to end this now. We're going to make a part 2 of what has helped us. So that's what our next video. You guys will see that after this. And so we're going to end this because it's getting long. And we just wanted to announce that. We wanted to let you guys know. We didn't want to wait because we plan to succeed. And if we don't succeed, you'll know about it.
So show us grace in this though, because it is something that we're growing into and that we're changing.
And it's a personal
going to look
journey
different.
for each person. Like it's not going to look the same. So anyway, that's it. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all of those things. And we will see you next time.